Hi everyone, I'm here finally with the image transfer journal page. I'm using my repurposed recipe book, so this album I'm using solely for the tag challenges. I'm just applying some gesso, some golden gesso onto that page, and now going around the perimeter with a Tim Holtz Stampers Anonymous stamp from the Bitty Grunge stamp set, with some Ranger Jet Black archival ink. And I'm trying to replicate the tag background from the number 6 challenge. So I'm just taking some espresso truffle dye ink with one of the stamps from that Bitty Grunge stamp set and going all on the stamping all on the inside with that. Now taking some rich cocoa memento ink and another stamp from the same set and just stamping it willy-nilly. Some of this may not be seen when the page is finished, as per usual with my pages, but some might. So I'm just taking some brown acrylic paint. So I'm working from darkest colour to lightest, going from the outside in. And I think I used these same colours on the tag. And I didn't like the brush strokes, so I'm now using my fingers to apply that paint. Now I must say with this image transfer, it has been a nightmare from go to woe. I like the text, the book page transfer. Trying to do images was another matter. Now I've just applied some brown sugar by Americana, and then I apply some tan, and then I apply some bisque. Yeah, so you wouldn't class text as an image transfer. It still is a transfer, and so what I ended up doing was transferring the book text, which you could probably just stamp anyway, but hello, this is another technique. And then I tried a couple of other images. They didn't go down too well. And then I tried another one, and it didn't go down too well, but I fixed it. And I'll be doing that with all these from now on. So stay with me to the end, and you'll see how I fixed it. So I've just taken a wet baby wipe and just trying to blend that in a little bit and rub off some excess paint. Oh, and now I'm going to add some more stamping. Another stamp from the Bitty Grunge stamp set, again with espresso truffle dye ink. Right, now comes the text, the paper strips, and this is a very brittle paper book. It's that old. So I'm applying gel medium here, and I think the trick is not to do too thick of a coat, but not too thin, and also burnish it well, spreading out that medium so there's no gloops, lumps in there. It needs to be flat as. No bubbles, no nothing. So it is important to burnish the paper once you glue it down. And try not to get gel medium on the top of it, of the paper, because that's going to defeat the purpose. Now I could have just glued these down and used these strips as, the text. But I'm not so good at collage. I can't blend them in as good as DD can. So this way, it sort of makes it look as if it is collaged. even though the text back the front. So I've just dipped my finger in some water and gently rubbing those layers of paper off to reveal the print underneath. So I've just slowed that down a bit for you so you can actually see the difference. Now I could have just stamped on there. Again, it defeats the purpose. I think this gives it a different look rather than stamping. And some of it just wipes off where maybe some glue wasn't applied to that area, or it could have been a lump of glue or gel medium. Here I had a couple of loose ends and tried to rip them off, but go back to rubbing it away. Now some may think that this is just a waste of time. I think in most cases it probably is. But once you get the technique down pat, say there it is there, all rubbed off. And I like the look of that. Once you get the technique down pat, you can transfer faces and clocks and all sorts of images, real images, not just text. And the look is just brilliant. So here, I'd printed these out onto cardstock a long time ago, so they're well and truly dry. And this should work. And it will, now that I know the secret. So just the gel medium, a thin layer, and then burnish over the top of it. So I didn't want to just do the text, I wanted to do some real images as well, and different substrates. Well, you know, different, yeah, bits of paper, types of paper. And this started out really good, but then I went overboard with it and just rubbed it all off. You notice that once the image is wet, like there, you can see the detail there now, but once it dries, it has a film over it, a milky look, and that I think is the gel medium. But you try and rub that gel medium off, and you just rub it all off. Well, I do anyway. And I think it all depends on the medium that you use. I didn't try matte medium, but I think I will have a go at that down the track. Once I get over the trauma of this page. So there you can see through the milky film there, the detail. But then once I rub it all off, it's a gone. And you cannot work it out at all. So I give up on those and just treat those as another texture on the page. They look nothing like that once dried. Looking up close, you can't see much. Although you can see her a little bit. So I decide on a magazine image, a glossy image, glossy paper. And I chose this piece because it had similar colours to what I used on the background. So I'm applying some gel medium with a plastic card there, and then really burnishing it. So much so that I ripped the paper, but that's just me. And then I left it overnight. I wanted to make sure that it was completely dry before I started removing the paper layers. So this is the next day, and I'm dipping my finger in the water again and rubbing off the paper. And it's looking good so far. I just sprayed some water on that then because it did need a bit of soaking. It's looking pretty good so far, but you can still see as it dries, there's a milky film over it. Now I think that first layer of paper that I took off took me about half an hour. And then, yeah, you can see I pointed to the top where there's no film over it, so it is possible to remove all the paper pulp and the matte medium. Well, whatever it is that's giving it that film. So what I tried to do was take it slowly, very softly, trying to remove the rest of that pulp. And it did seem to start to work, but then I got impatient and thought, that's it, I give up on this technique. You can see the difference there in the darkness on the right hand side, but very minimal, very slight. You can see the paper's still coming off there. I'd stop and I'd start and I'd stop and I'd start. I think, will I finish it? Will I just lose it? Be done with it? Alright, now there, it's wet. Okay, so it's all wet and I love the look of the image. But then when it dries, see the result. And that's when it hit me. What if I try to wet it, partly dry it, and then apply some fluid matte medium? And so that's what I did. So that's wet and then dampened off and dried a little bit. And so then, oh, hang on, it wasn't. I decided now that I'd add another door, that I'd worked out what the quote was going to be. So here I am now. You can see some of that's dry, but once you apply the fluid matte medium, it darkens and it stays dark. You can actually see the whole image with no milky film, and it has dried clear like that. So, light bulb. That's what I'll be doing from now on. So once that was done, I thought, yes, quote time. So basically, I just stamped the quote with some Portercraft alphabet stamps with some espresso truffle, continuing with the brown shades, and then went around them. I didn't even colour them in because it didn't really stamp too solid, but I just went around them with a white extra fine Sharpie paint pen, and that made it stand out. See, how cool is that? Once that fluid matte medium went on, it stayed dark. No milky film over it. So I'm happy now. Won't be visiting that technique for a while, I don't think. But it worked out in the end. So if you want to have a go, and if you've got it worked out, please let me know what the secrets are in the comments below. If not, have a go and see what you end up with. So thanks for watching, guys. If you want to join in on our techniques, go over to our Facebook group, Art Journal Techniques, and join and play along with us. So thanks for watching, and I'll be back with another challenge. Bye.